Hi everybody, it's Jen and I'm the Unapologetic Reader. I'm here today to do the I Dare You book tag that I've been seeing circulating around BookTube. I don't think I was tagged by anybody, but I really liked the video that Remember Reads did, and I'll link her video down below, and it inspired me to do it too. So here we go. Question number 1, what book has been on your shelf the longest? I don't know this for sure, but I'd have to say it's probably Eats, Shoots, and Leaves by Lynn Truss. This is a fun take on grammar and how the same sentence can be read differently depending on where you put the comma. I think I've had this since about 2004. It came out in 2003, and I don't think I got it the year it came out. I think I took a class the year after that, and that's when I picked it up. So I've had this one the longest. Question number 2, what is your current read? What did you last read? And what will you probably read next? I'm currently reading Ashes of Twilight by Cassie Taylor. This is like a steampunk dystopian. I haven't read too much steampunk, but I'm really liking it so far. I'm not too far into it. The book that I just finished reading was Libriomancer by Jim Hines, and I'm gonna have a review going up on my blog later this week. This was really good. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. As far as what I'm gonna read next, I'm looking at my books I'm planning to read over here. I think I'm probably gonna pick up The Prelude to Foundation by Isaac Asimov next. I really liked The Foundation, and I know this book wasn't published next after that one, but it's the prelude, so I don't think I can ruin anything by reading this one next. What book did everyone like but you hated? Oh, this is where I'm put to the test. I'm the Unapologetic Reader, right? So I can't feel sorry for anything. And I don't. The Catcher in the Rye. I hated the book. Completely hated it. I never would have finished reading that book if I didn't have to read it for school. And I hated it. I wrote a paper on how much I hated it. I didn't like the main character. I thought that for someone who talked all the time about other people being phony, I didn't believe him as a character, as a narrator. I thought that he was being very fake, and he just annoyed me. I didn't like it. Question number 4. What book do you keep telling yourself that you will read and you probably never will? That's the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I've tried many times. I don't think I'm actually going to ever read it. As a matter of fact, I no longer own those books. I just can't get past the prose. I can't do it. I think that he spends way too much time describing things and way too soon, so I don't understand why he's taking all this time to describe everything. I just want to get to the meat of the story. Question number 5. What book are you saving for retirement? Well, I'm not intentionally saving a book for any particular reason. I kind of want to say that maybe I'm saving the 10th book in the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, because at the rate things are going, I kind of feel like that book's not going to be published till maybe I'm ready to retire. We never know. So let's go with that one. Page, read it first or wait till the end? Believe it or not, I kind of do some of both, depending on the book. A lot of the times, if it's a book where there is a romantic element and also a lot of action, or there's a possibility that maybe a character that I don't particularly want anything permanently bad to happen to, sometimes I will kind of skip ahead to the end of the book just to make sure that they survive by the end. I think probably the last book that this happened with was Outlander. I wasn't watching the TV show, I was just reading the book, and I really liked Jamie's character, but I was getting the impression that he wasn't going to make it through to the end of the book. And I'm not going to say one way or the other if he does, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't read the book yet and may want to, but I skipped to the end and I just glimpsed at the pages just to see what I was setting myself up for, so I could be prepared if he wasn't going to make it, or I could be reassured if he was going to make it. I don't do it too often, but every once in a while I get so invested in the characters, I just need to know, so that I can continue going. And if they live or if they die at the end, that won't necessarily make me stop reading the book. I think I just like to sort of be prepared. Okay, question number 7. Acknowledgements. Do you think they're a waste of ink or interesting aside? I actually never used to read them, but I never felt like they didn't need to be there. I think it's a very nice, respectful touch for all the people who helped bring a book into existence. But every once in a while, I do kind of skim them now, and some of them are really funny or really interesting. So I have got in the habit now of reading them, and I think anybody who says that they're a waste of ink probably hasn't given it a shot, because they're usually written by the authors, and these are creative people. I mean, they're writing books, and they don't just list a bunch of names and what they're thankful for. Like, sometimes they come up with really creative ways to acknowledge the people who helped them write the book, and I think they should. I don't think acknowledgements is something that should ever go away from books. Question number 8. Which book character would you switch places with? I would love to switch places with Sienny from the Paper Magician series. It's a trilogy, and I don't have the physical books with me because I listened to them on Audible. They were fantastic, but basically it's a world where there's a magic system kind of based on materials. So you have paper, you have wood, you have glass, I think there's fire, and Sienny is a paper magician. So she folds things, think origami, and then basically she can make those things come to life. I've never been very good at origami, so 1, I think it'd be cool to be really good at origami, and 2, being able to make that stuff come to life. I mean, hello, that'd be so cool. I would totally trade places with her in a heartbeat. And I work for a packaging company, so there's lots of paper and boxes there. I think she would do just fine in my place in this world. Question number 9. Do you have a book that reminds you of something specific in your life? I don't think I really have one in particular. There are certainly books that I will remember where I was and what I was doing during the time when I was reading that book, or reading passages in that book. Definitely books that I read in high school. You know, when I see them on my shelf, I get a little nostalgic about that. Or books that I read on a trip, I might be like, oh yeah, I read that one on that trip. For example, I read Outlander when I was visiting my sister in Austria, and whenever someone mentions Outlander, that's all I can think about is when she and I were taking the train to Salzburg, and I was reading that book on there, and she was telling me I was crazy for reading such a huge book. Does that ever happen to you guys? Do you look at books and can you remember where you were or what was going on in your life when you read them? I think that's a really interesting question. Question number 10. Name a book you acquired in an interesting way. I guess I could say, this is a recent one I just read, The End of the Day by Claire North. I got this book. I was visiting an independent bookstore, and I had made my purchases and I was getting ready to leave, and I asked if they had a business card or a bookmark with their store info on it, just in case I wanted to write a blog post about their store. I wanted to make sure I had all of their information accurate. And the store owner happened to be there, and she said, oh, well, do you know about our shelf of free books for review? And I said no. So basically they have a shelf where local authors or publishers will send in their books for a review, and basically you can just come and take a book, and they only ask that when you're done reading it you post a review on whatever type of social media to get the word spread out. Question number 11. Have you ever given a book away for a special reason to a special friend? Well, I just recently gave my best friend the Book of Ove. I picked it up. I found it used for a really good price, and they made it into a movie, and that had been on TV, and I remembered hearing that she was watching it, and I was more interested in reading the book than watching it, but after I got the book, she raved about the movie and said it was really good. So I just ended up giving her the book. I figured she'd get to it long before I would, and she was really excited about that. So there you go. Question 12. Which book has been with you most places? Probably all the books that I have on my phone in my Nook. I don't take that long to read books once I am reading them, so they don't really go too many places. But the books I've had on my e-reader have pretty much been to different states with me. They've been to other countries with me. So yeah, pretty much all those books. Question 13. Any required reading you hated in high school that wasn't so bad 2 years later? Catcher in the Rye. And I can't even use that because I never tried rereading it. I never will try rereading it because I hated it. Most of the books I read in high school I enjoyed. It was kind of so-so about The Great Gatsby, and I remember then in college, so it must have been a few years later, we read The Great Gatsby again, but it was for a creative writing class, and I did enjoy it better then than when I read it in high school. I think high school was just too soon for me to read that book. I wouldn't say that I loved it. It's still not one of my favorites, but I think I could appreciate it more and understand it a little bit better. Question 14. Used or brand new? Definitely used. If you've ever read the story of the Velveteen Rabbit, and the whole concept behind that story is that, you know, stuffed animals or toys, you know, the more loved they get, the more real they become, even though that means they're going to get worn and tattered, and they might lose an eye, or, you know, fur off of their coat or whatever. And I translate that completely to books. I love getting books that have been beaten up. Maybe somebody's marked in them a little bit, you know, the spine's all busted and everything. You can kind of see the pages are curled a little bit. You know, a lot of people have touched this book, or at least I imagine a lot of people have touched this book, read this story, enjoyed it. It makes me feel really connected to a larger community of readers. So I definitely like used books way more than brand new books. But that being said, I have purchased a lot of brand new books. I don't think I'm patient enough to wait for all the books I want to read to be available used. So I have a combination of used and new, but there's a special place in my heart for used books. Number 15, have you ever read a Dan Brown book? I read two. I read Angels and Demons and The Da Vinci Code. A lot of people don't like Angels and Demons and they like The Da Vinci Code. I was the exact opposite. I really liked Angels and Demons. I did not like The Da Vinci Code. Question 16, have you ever seen a movie you liked more than the book? All that really jumps to mind for me are the Lord of the Rings movies. I don't know if that's fair because I haven't read the books. I can't get into the books. I don't like the first one. But I really liked the movies. Question 17, have you ever read a book that made you hungry? As a matter of fact, a couple days ago when I was listening to Edge Dancer, which is a Stormlight novella by Brandon Sanderson. In Edge Dancer, it focuses on Lift, and she's a character in his Stormlight Archive world, and she gets her power from food, from eating. Of course, when she uses her power, it burns up that food like that. So she's always thinking about food. She's always hungry. And oh my goodness, listening to that, like, I was so hungry. And there's this theme through the whole story about pancakes. Oh my goodness, I wanted to drive to the nearest IHOP and just chow down. It was insane. Really good book though, by the way. I just posted a review, as a matter of fact, today on my blog. I'll link it down below if you want to go and check it out. But I definitely recommend it, but only if you've already read the first two books in the Stormlight Archive, because it does kind of contain spoilers for those books. Question 18, who is the person whose book advice you will always take? My best friend probably. She doesn't read as much as me, but she unfortunately has to listen to me talk about books all the time, and so she has a really good idea of what I like, and so she's made some pretty good suggestions. Like, she suggested the R'lyeh Chronicles, by Michael J. Sullivan, and she was right on the nose with that. I've read all of those books, gobbled them up. So I trust her because she understands what I like, and she can make really good recommendations. Is there a book out of your comfort zone that you ended up loving? For that one, I'm going to probably say The Zookeeper's Wife by Diane Ackerman. This is based on true events that happened during World War II in Poland, and it just recently came out as a movie, and that was kind of what originally made me want to read the book. I was really intrigued by the premise of the film, and if I think I'm going to see a film based on a book, I try to read the book first. And before that, I had really shied away from any World War II books. I did read The Book Thief a couple of years ago. I really enjoyed that, but other than that, I shy away from it. I know that that was a horrible time and there were horrible things happening, and it really hurts my heart to read a lot of it. So for the most part, I shy away from those stories. And I don't read too many books based on true events. It's definitely the smallest category. So as far as being out of my comfort zone, I think probably just it's outside of what I usually read. And I picked it up and I figured I'd give it a shot, and I didn't like it. I could pass it on to somebody else. But it definitely gripped me, dragged me into the story, and did not let go until the very end. I flew through this book, which I normally don't read historical fiction that quickly. It usually is slower paced, takes me longer to get through it, but I flew through this one. It was so good. I recommend it to anybody I can. There's my answers. The other component of doing this tag is to tag 4 people. I've checked these 4 their channels and I haven't seen them do this video, so the people I tag are Cassie from Acapella Books. She's got a brand new channel, but I really like watching her videos. She's done a few tags, and I really like I like some of the books that she read, so I'd like to see her answers to these questions. Heather from Bookables, who is not a new channel, but she is so entertaining to watch, and I love the variety of books that she reads. So I'd be really interested to see some of her answers to these questions. Winks from Winks and Ink, I tag you, mostly because I just want to see more of your cats. They are freaking adorable, and I love that they show up in all of your videos. And then finally, I tag DJ from DJ's TBR Books. She is probably the happiest person I have come across in a while. She also has a newer channel, and she just books make her happy, talking about books make her happy, and she makes me happy watching her. So those are the 4 people I tag. Like I said, I will link Remembered Reads video down below when she did this tag, because that's what inspired me to do it. And any of the books that I mentioned, I'll try to put links to them down below. That may not happen right when this video goes live, but I'll come back and try and put those in there, okay? If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, I'd love it if you subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you next time. Bye!